If you're a manifestor in human design, you've probably felt frustrated by sales advice that tells you to nurture leads for months on end or build relationships slowly over time. Those are great things to do in a business, but for you, when you are 7% of the population and you are here to initiate and catalyze and move us into new ways of doing things, there's probably a lot of advice that just hasn't felt very aligned for you. So today, we're having a conversation about how to approach sales as a manifestor and how you can create a sales system that works with that natural ability to initiate and create impact while still respects your need for rest and basically creates a process where you are still supported financially from a sales perspective, even when you are resting. So let me start by sharing how I approach sales, because it's probably maybe a little bit different to other coaches or other advice that you have received. I don't believe that you have to sell every day in order to be successful. Sales is not just a caption. It's not an Instagram story. It's not what you post on Instagram today or the email you send to your email list or your open cart period, right? Like, it is an ecosystem. And if you don't want to sell every single day, not because you have blocks around it, but because it just genuinely doesn't feel that exciting for you, that's actually completely fine. But you do need an approach that allows this to be possible for you. And what you want to create is more of an ecosystem approach to sales. And that's what the 4-step sales system is that I use in my business and that I teach my clients, because it's about creating a complete experience that works even when you are not actively selling. So the 4 steps in the sales system are magnetize, educate, close, and deliver. Okay, so we magnetize people to our content. We bring people into our business, and that is, a conversation around the content that you are creating, the marketing platforms that you are on. We then educate them, and this is always the step that people are missing. We educate them about what we do, how we can help them, the steps that they can take to, step into our business, right? We close the sale, whether that is in a launch or it's in an application process, discovery call, whatever that looks like. And then we deliver an incredible experience. And this is how I and also my clients are able to have consistent recurring revenue while not selling every single day. In fact, there are periods where I'm not selling either of my 2 signature programs for 3 to 4 months straight. But you need to plan for that. You need this bigger ecosystem in place in order to be able to do that. By the way, if you want to dive deeper into this framework, I have a mini course called Selling Soulfully. It's just $37. You can DM me Soul on Instagram and I'll get that over to you. The link is also below, and it goes through this 4-step sales system in more depth, and it shows you exactly how to personalize each of those 4 steps to your human design. So let's talk about the Manifestor sales strategy with this 4-step sales system in mind. So as a manifestor, one of the things that's really important for you is making it easy for you to initiate sales, but having an ecosystem that can support you even when you are resting, right? So your strategy, your human design strategy, is to initiate and inform, but you also need those rest periods, right? So your ability to be able to catalyze and initiate and inform and move on something is really dependent on you having those periods of rest to be able to give you that energy, right? So your sales system needs to account for both of these aspects of your design, right? Both of those things are equally important as it relates to sales. So for example, say you have an evergreen offer, right? So basically evergreen meaning that it is always available for people to buy, but it's actually something that is live delivered. So maybe what you do is you sell it all year round. So you build, a nurture funnel, right? So a lead magnet that people can download, and you're sending them emails, inviting them into that program. But then maybe you run a live round 2 to 3 times a year. So it's not constantly available. You're not, constantly coaching people or constantly being with people. You might sell it all year round, but you're only running it 2 to 3 times a year. Or you could sell, the content, but then you do, a launch a few times a year. So it's not evergreen, but you do a launch, a few times a year where you sell the content alongside an immersion or something extra, right? So it's like you're selling something that's passive, like it's content that people can buy and consume, but then maybe you have a couple of periods where you want to do something that's a little bit more intimate with people, or maybe you're in a live launch model. And I actually love a live launch model for a manifestor because it gives you this like burst rest experience, right? It gives you time to rest in between launches while still maintaining that ecosystem, right? And so I think this is a really great thing for manifestors because you can really compartmentalize your focus. You can really initiate the sales and visibility during those launch periods, but then in the periods when you are resting, you can be focused on having a funnel, like really getting more people into your email list in preparation for that launch period. I also think it can be really fun for manifestors to create things that people want to come back to time and time again. Like you create it once and then it creates this experience where you almost are receiving like maybe a return on investment multiple times. So a great example of this is Vanessa Henry. You might know of her. She's a manifestor who teaches human design. She teaches variable in depth. And what's really cool about something that she does on Instagram is she has this recurring thing that she does every full moon where she does a reel. And it's got all of these different archetypes, and you can screenshot the archetype that's coming up for you. So you can screenshot 4 of them. And then I see a lot of people putting them into a template and sharing like, oh, these are my like full moon, downloads and full moon, so it's almost like a tarot card spread, but it's done in a reel and then you can screenshot it. And it always gets a lot of engagement. And what I think is cool is that people know that it's something that she does every full moon, so she's able to create that burst of engagement once a month that people continue to come back for, right? So she does something once, but it continues to create a return on investment over time. And this whole approach is about designing everything so you can have those bursts of high energy and impact followed by the rest periods that you need in order to recharge. So here are 3 things that you can do practically today. Number 1, start keeping a journal of your energy. Like, what does it feel like for you to be in a burst experience? Like, what does it feel like when that isn't happening? Like, when you start to familiarize yourself with the energy that is just natural to you, like what your burst and rest cycle is. I know that you can't always plan for that, but you will likely find some kind of consistency in that burst rest, whether it's over, I guess identifying that over the course of a day, right? Because you're a non-sacral, like it's really important for you to rest before you actually feel tired. And so notice, how does that feel over the course of a day? How does that feel over the course of a week? You could even look at tracking the transiting moon as well, if you wanted to as well. I love the moon app for that. I always put it in my Google Calendar as well. And you might find that at particular periods during, the month when the moon is transiting through Leo or it's transiting through Taurus, that you always feel really creative or you always feel like you want to rest. Maybe one of those, signs is in your 12th house in astrology. And so it's a time to go inward and to have some more, alone time and seclusion, and it's going to be really difficult for you to create a sales strategy or an overall business model that works for you if you're not in tune with the natural cycles of your energy. Secondly, build one solid system that can work while you are resting. So that might be a lead magnet within an email sequence, right? That people can, download at any time, or evergreen, an evergreen sort of, passive low ticket offer or something like that, like a $37 offer or something like that, that when you have that burst and you want to initiate and you want to tell people about it, it's there and it's available for people to buy at any time, even when you are not in that burst period. And third, be direct when you are selling something. Be direct when you are ready to sell. Don't feel like you need to nurture people for months. Trust in that ability to initiate clear offers during those active periods, to let people know, here's what I have, or here's the time that I am, opening this, enrollment. I'm opening enrollment for this offer on this date. It's going to be open for 1 week. Here are the details. Take it or leave it, right? Like, you have ability to really pierce through and initiate and catalyze people into action. And so trust in that. That may not be something that is familiar to you in that you just haven't been doing it that much. It might just feel a little bit new in your nervous system. So start creating safety to be bold and direct. It doesn't need to be that you're loud, or you have, controversial opinions for the sake of being controversial, but be direct as it relates to sales, which means making things clear on your website, on your sales pages, right? Because the key for manifestors is working with both your power to initiate as well as your need for independence and rest. So your sales system should create space for those bursts of energy while also creating an opportunity, like through funnels in particular, that can support you during those recovery periods. And as part of this human design series, there's going to be later episodes about content, but also about your ideal business model. But if you would like to get a quick look at that now to start working with that, you can also DM me quiz on Instagram at jazzjervis_, or just grab the link below as well to start aligning your business model to your energy as a manifestor. Or you can DM me soul to start creating your own 4-step sales system aligned to your design as a manifestor, or you can grab the link below because you're just 7% of the population, right? Like, a lot of advice out there about sales may not feel super supportive for you. Your sales system is really going to need to work with those natural rhythms. And so it's really important that you start to become familiar with those and that you start to trust your ability to initiate and to catalyze and to then build the systems that support that gift.